And hello, Kelly.
Hi, Diane.
Thank you for inviting me.
Well, thank you for coming yet again. This time I pushed your course.
Yeah.
So thank you everybody for coming, and thank you, Diane. Diane, I'll let you introduce yourself. Like Diane, so Diane is an expert in neuro-linguistic programming, NLP. So I'll let you introduce yourself more and tell us more about you, because I'm sure you can say it much better than I can. So,
Well, yeah. I am Diane Hume, and I've been in the coaching and training industry now for over 10 years. Before that, I worked at the Open Learning Agency and Knowledge Network for 15 years and was involved in a lot of the training on computers and also Steve Dotto from the Knowledge Network as well. And then we moved to Edmonton for a while, and so I could be home with the kids. And then I got into at that point a network marketing, party light candles, and got out of my comfort zone and did a lot of building of teams and offering my products of candles and setting up displays. And yes, there was a bit of an artist in me there, where designing and decorating all of the beautiful displays. And so I couldn't just stay home with the kids. I've been working since I was 16, and there was no way. So this is where the entrepreneur touched me. This is where the whole start of it, and building teams and growing them and coaching the teams, because then I would promote out leaders who would have then their teams. And this is where I got very interested in leadership. I earned a trip to Toronto for a leadership and beyond retreat at a little local ski lodge, and it was so amazing and intense. And I, once I left network marketing, I then, because first of all, my father had passed away from cancer, and my daughter was diagnosed with type 1 diabetes. And I just found it so, at the time, overwhelming. So I left that network marketing business. And then from there, so many people said, Diane, if you do anything, anything at all, you helped us so much that I'm right there with you. Because, many times when the leader leaves, many times the rest of the teams also leave. So I then heard about life coaching, and I'm like, what is life coaching? They're saying, well, you kind of do this, Diane, when you're leading the teams and you're motivating and guiding people to success. And that's quite a bit what like life coaching is. So I was reading up on it and said, okay, well, I'll go and check it out. And they said that there was neuro-linguistic programming in the course. And I thought, what the heck is NLP? Because they always use the acronyms NLP. And then I heard, oh, Tony Robbins uses it. He's the That's his core of his business, is what he uses, is neuro-linguistic programming. So I thought, okay, well, he's definitely motivating, inspiring. I'll go check it out. Why not learn what he learned years ago when he was like 17, 18, 19 in there. You can even see YouTube videos of him doing some of the techniques back then.
oh, really? Wow, I didn't know
So
that.
amazing. Yeah. So I did that in Sedona. What a beautiful place to learn It was just so, with the red mountains and just everything about that course was amazing. And I was with that company, would continuously go down there, help to train. And then I got into, because there's two, well, I'll get into that later, but I got into another umbrella of neuro-linguistic programming to learn more. I just cannot get enough because it just has helped me so much. So now I have my own business called Dream Receiver Coaching and Training. And I coach and also I train in these techniques and assist people in confidence and getting out there in the world. It's so important to not be the best kept secret. And I'm super passionate about that when people have these gifts and these dreams and to be out there. So
Very
that's
true.
where, yeah.
And that's where I met you during you made us, and you didn't make us.
Yes. And
doing it for 21 days, getting out and videotaping ourselves, and she gives us a subject or a topic to talk about, whether it's your best vacation, or I can't remember all the different ones, like how you take your coffee, all that kind of stuff, just to get on live on Facebook or whatever, just to do a video. Is like freaky out at first, but yeah, I mean, it was great because you get used to it and you get in front of the camera. It was huge after I did
yeah,
that.
and I just thought I'd let you know that our landing page is now out, or just to let you know, so I can let you know at the end. But you're at the bottom of it. I just want to let you know with a big picture of you.
Uh-oh.
You know, so it's just,
Cool. That's cool.
yeah. So there you go.
So can you tell everybody what NLP is? Like, I mean, you've
Mm.
said it's neuro-linguistic programming. Programming makes it sound like it's all like computer, or that's what comes to my head, or you're being programmed, like, but can you
Yeah,
tell
and
everybody what?
we all do run programs continuously.
Mhm.
And what I'll break it down in simplest terms as I can because I don't want to get into all the jargon, and I'll just simplify it. And what it will start out with neuro. So neuro is the touch point within how you communicate to the outside world and what you take in. And how you do that is through all of a sensory experience. So many times we're going through life and we'll have one, we call it rep system, which is many times artists will be in a visual rep system. And this is how many times that what's important to them about seeing their art and having that, right? And we all have all of them: visual, auditory, and kinesthetic, and also taste and smell as well. However, do we get in touch with all of them all of the time?
Mm.
And by acknowledging and realizing that there is visual, there is auditory, and there is kinesthetic, which is feeling, hearing, and seeing. And just knowing that we then take that neurology of the senses, and then we create whatever it means to us. So we create our own unique picture of what's happening around us. So that's the part, really, the touch point of neuro in a nutshell, in the coconut.
Coconut. I always say, explain things to me like I'm six, because sometimes people explain it to us like,
Oh,
what?
yeah. When I was looking through my binders, I was going, oh my gosh, so many times just, it's not important. But the main thing is the sensory. this, knowing that the 5 senses. So visual, auditory, kinesthetic, taste, and smell. Those
Right.
are the ones that they focus on. And then linguistic is actually decoding the experience through our language. And then it's the linguistics of how we word what our brain senses through our experiences. So we use words to describe, for example, describing how we see the world, um, describing how we hear the world
Mm.
and see, hear, and feel. Oh, this reminds me of this. And then I've sensed this in neurology. I remember this from when I was whenever. So now I've got my guard up, and I'll start saying things.
Right.
That is from my map of my world through my senses. So it's kind of comparing a smell to what you already know. For example, that is garlic. Now I'm wording it. I'm wording what I smell. Uh, that's linguistics, again, in a nutshell, coconut shell. And then programming is the internal and external responses that we have to what we do. So programming is how our brain kind of processes the information and decides how to respond. It's like our brain has its own set of instructions from the past. Like it is a map. And one of the presuppositions of NLP is to know that, to respect everyone's map of the world, to seek to understand what Stephen Covey always says in the book of 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. But that's the programming part of NLP. It's the patterns that we do, the habits that we have because of our internal programming. And what the 2 main guys did, Richard and John Grinder, back in the 70s, they actually went out and modeled the experts, the geniuses that were really getting good responses they're getting really good responses. They were psychotherapists, hypnotherapists, and they watched how specifically they got such great results. And they kind of coded it into exactly a step-by-step procedure of how to do it, how to take that programming of how they do it and mimic it, to strategize to exactly the way it is. And the way, if someone can do something many times, another person can do it as well, depending on, of course, physical. But for most of the time, you can map it across. That's how we describe it. We call it mapping it across. We can even do it with ourselves. So we can map it across. Oh, I'm really good at going out, getting all my recipes at the store. I getting all the ingredients for my recipe. I'm really good at that. So I'll go out to the store and then, but how do I know what to get? Well, I've got a list and I got a strategy to get the ingredients to make what I need to make. Oh, but I'm really bad at follow-up with my clients. So how can we map it across where you've gone out, you've got your ingredients, maybe the business cards. What did you do beforehand? Maybe you check the pantry to see what you don't have. Can you map these strategies from cooking over to now following up with my clients or whatever it is? So Um, that's the part about the modeling. You can model yourself, mirror something you do over here really well, take it over here.
Right. So you can take, so what you're saying is you could take something, like I'm really good at like doing graphics, say, but I'm not so good at, oh, there's so many different things I'm not so good at. But so can I take, because I'm really good at it and I'm really fast at it and I can just kind of put it all together. But over here, when I try to do, like, say, a blog, it takes me forever. Like, it takes me hours just to do one blog, where the graphic thing takes me like 20 minutes and I'm done. I've got it all finished. And then this blog or whatever email takes like so long and it doesn't flow. Like, I just can't, like, I clunk through this where I just fly through this, Does that make sense?
So even the way you did this, I just fly through this and that's a pattern of even your self-talk, of how you did it. And you even used eye accessing cues. So if I ask you, tell me about the graphs, what is your strategy? How do you know how do you know right now that you can do that quickly?
Are you asking me? Like, really
Yeah.
ask? Um, well, past experience for one. And honestly, I don't even know what I'm going to do until I get there. And it just kind of usually flows. I don't even, I can't even describe it.
Yeah.
But
So I can't quite see the details of your eyes, but that's part of the programming of how you know that you just do it. I just do it. I just know. Now you have a strategy for that. And what we do is we move it into really slow, slow motion so that if I was an alien from outer space, you would tell me exactly how specifically you do a graph that quickly. Because I possibly could not do that,
right.
most likely.
Like, break it all down into individual steps kind of thing.
Yeah. And then to what in those steps and thoughts with all the senses could you map across to something that you were talking about that would take you hours?
I wouldn't even know.
Mm-hmm. It takes time, but the big thing is just slow things down. Slow it down because you said I do it so quickly, and then and you're over here and you're expressing yourself just like I just do it. I just know, and that's how we do something that we know how to do.
Right.
Now, if I was to ask you again to describe how you know that you can't do something, again, in a slow motion, like I'm an alien from outer space, how do I not know how to do this quickly? How do I know it's time consuming? So a blog, for example, right? What is it that your pattern, your programming does to know how to do a graph quickly? And what's the differences? And what is the same?
Well, graphics are all visual, so to me, it's simple and
Mm-hmm.
things just look good the way they look. Like, if I'm doing like a graphic for social media or whatever, I know how to make it flow. But I guess because it's graphics and visual stuff to words and
So right away, if I was to slow you down, so I know how to make it flow, I would get you to write that down, those words, because that is your programming on how to do something you know how to do.
mm,
So now, if you took those same words and applied it to the blog, I mean, the word flow might even be something that you need to say there. That's what's so amazing, how the creativity, again, pulling it from one thing to another. What if it just flowed?
mm.
What if you just saw it? Because you use that rep system. What if I just saw it and then it flowed?
Right. Huh. I'll have to try that
Just
next
those
time.
subtle verbal changes sometimes, and our body language when we're explaining it, facial expressions that change without saying a word. There are so many subtle non-verbal shifts that reveal how you do something well.
Right.
And just, I like thinking about it like a copy and paste.
Copy what you're doing over here and paste it to
Yeah.
something you might not enjoy as much, kind of thing, or
Yeah. But can we still have the same outline of how we think when we do this compared to how we think when we're going to do this?
all right. So is that how so I mean, we're told tons of stories when we're kids growing up that we are this and we're not that, and we're this and we're not that, or you're really good at this, but you suck at this, or not maybe suck, but
Mhm.
and this is who you are because this is what I'm telling you you are. Now, as an adult, you still carry all those stories forward. How do you get around them or through them or alter them or
So
change
right
them?
away, again, this would be self-talk because we're having a memory of somebody told me this. We also do a technique called timeline, which we can find out where the source is, only for a positive intention for it though, because many times people will say, I want to go back there, but they want to go back there because they want to blame Aunt Gertrude for telling them they could never be an artist.
Right.
That's why I'm not drawing, or that's why I'm not painting, right? So that's where I draw the line. No, that's not what it's about. It's going back there and to learn the positive intentions and find the resources that were needed at that time and to bring it up to now, to today, and in the future. So when we're talking about past things, and it was funny because tonight I called my mom just to check in, and I said, I'm going on my friend's, who's an artist, talking about NLP. And I said, isn't it funny how the cards said that she should be painting now at her age? And she said, not at my age. I can't. I just like the TV. And, she got into this whole thing and about how she couldn't do it. And I said, well, these are going to be the things we're going to be talking about tonight.
Right.
It's just so natural. It just automatically comes up of
Yeah.
these things. And yeah, I'm too old. No,
Yeah.
I'm too
I
old
was
to
gonna
do
say,
that.
yeah, I
Right.
can't do that. Yeah.
Yeah. So the biggest thing is now, once this is said, is to ask the right questions. Many times people ask why, and all that does is, I mean, you can just imagine if you went and you stubbed your toe. I like to use this. Stubbed your toe and you went, why do I keep doing that? What kind of answers do you think you're going to get?
Because you're a klutz, because you're not watching where you're going, because oh, I've got them all, believe me. Stub my toe all
So
the time.
it's so important what kind of questions we're asking. So if you stubbed your toe and you got like, why is wonderful? Simon Sinek, start with why. I get it. Why do you want to be an artist? What is important to you about being an artist? Why? Know your why, because that I can understand moving forward with a why. But
Mm.
if you're talking backwards of something that's not going to work for you and you ask why, well, you'll find Aunt Gertrude or
Yeah.
somebody
A lot of blaming. The blaming comes out of why, it seems
blaming,
like.
yeah, ourselves. Um, yeah, being clumsy. It was because my aunt was always clumsy, or my uncle. Joe, he was always falling down or whatever.
Yeah,
And then how does that move us forward? Just those verbal changes of how we ask ourselves questions can change all our senses to moving towards something
mm-hmm.
rather
Thinking
than
about
moving
more,
away.
why not? Why not? Why are you not showing your art? Why are you not?
Yeah. So the question would be, what would be important to you about showing your art? Now you're asking a towards question, which then they have to answer somehow. I doubt they would say, well, well, what you tell me. What would they say in general? I mean, you went through it yourself too, right?
Oh, for sure.
So if asking that at that time, well, what was important to you about showing your art?
Um, that I wanted people to see it, that I wanted it to change someone's perspective, maybe, or change somebody's life, and that was something that took me a while too to even get that that was important and that I had that kind of power over, maybe someone's day, even someone's perspective, even someone's, moods.
Yeah.
That's pretty powerful, right? That as artists, we have a lot of not it's not power like it's a bad like power like, oh, I can control you, but it's power like I can help. I can
Yeah.
change someone's, way of thinking or way of being or something, right? Something usually in the positive.
Mhm. So yes, it's the quality of our questions.
Hmm. For sure. And
Mhm.
sometimes people don't know the quality questions to ask. They're more
Because again,
blamey.
why am I not showing my art? Well, I'll find all kinds of reasons again to not show my art.
Hmm.
Mm.
Just thinking out of ourselves, I think, for the grander scheme. And I mean, someone asked me too, like, what even bigger than where do I want my life to be in 3 years? Someone said 3 years. 3 years is good because 3 years, 1 year is too close and too, oh, I can't do that. But 3 years is far enough that it's a little bit more abstract. So you can allow your imagination to, maybe go a little farther than it would have in a year because a year is so short. So
Mhm.
I like that. So what do you want your life to be? I've got lots of ideas. And everyone seems, how come all artists want to have a farm? It seems like I've heard this like so many
Really?
times. I don't know. I do. Like that's totally my dream. I want to farm somewhere and have a great big building where I would do art in. That would be awesome. And have like ducks and chickens, and
Beautiful.
that's a thing, right? I don't know. This seems to be a thing with artists. I've heard that a few
Interesting.
times. Aaron's smiling, so Aaron can see it
Lots
too.
to draw, lots to paint. Yeah,
Yeah. Well, community, right? Community's big too.
for sure. For sure, for sure. Did you have
So
a next question?
do I have a question? I have lots of questions. So like, I mean, we kind of talked about it, but like, is there any strategies except, oh, you can see Aaron has a question. Aaron's talking.
Oh, I just have it on us because
Yeah.
oh, Aaron, you're muted. Did you have a question?
I wasn't sure if I could unmute myself to say
Yeah.
something.
Sure, go
I
ahead.
was just laughing because I'm on Hinge and I just came across somebody's profile, and one of the things is like, oh, if you won the lottery, what would you do? And his thing was buy a hobby farm in the mountains. And I
See?
was like, yes, I was like, I want a hobby farm. So I was smiling.
And when do you want to buy?
Credit.
And when do you want it by?
Oh, that's like a pipe dream. It'd be
Yeah.
it was like if you won the lottery, so
If it wasn't a pipe dream, what would it be? When would it be?
I have no idea.
Yes, you do. If you did know, when would it be? Such a coaching question.
Um, too many big changes for me to think about. I don't do well with change.
Change is good.
Just curious, did you change your clothes this morning?
Who?
You?
Oh, well, I had to go to work today, so I got into my work clothes and then I came home and changed to comfy clothes.
Oh, so you changed.
Yeah.
Was it hard?
I wear a uniform, so it wasn't that hard.
This again is the map across, right? This is kind of like how you can map across something that you can change, which is easy.
I guess like changing clothes is like a little change as opposed to thinking about selling my apartment, having to move away from my family in order, because I would never be able to afford property. I live even in Abbotsford, like properties are going for like $1 million. So I would have to like move out like farther outwards. So yeah. So that's something difficult for me to conceive of.
Mhm.
Then what if you could?
Yeah, so that's the another you were, I think on your list of questions you were talking about techniques. Well, this is another thing. We make sure that it's ecological, meaning is it in alignment with your family? Is it in alignment? Because many times people do regret making a decision like that because of it's not being ecological. So this is where the positive intention for not doing something has an intention, say, that possibly losing love because of leaving the family. So when we look at these types of things about everything has a positive intention. If we just, that's a presupposition in NLP, is that everyone has positive intentions for their behaviors. I know the saying was all the roads are paved with good intentions. Doesn't necessarily mean the behaviors can be harmful and not very good. But when we are with people and we want to jump to conclusions of about what they mean or how they should do something or anything like that, we can look at, okay, I wonder what their positive intention is for not showing their art, even though, or not getting out of their comfort zone. Well, many times it's because they want to stay comfortable.
Right.
And then many times we know that the comfort zone then turns into not such a comfortable zone after a while when we're not out there. But especially when we have this strong calling that we have. And I find it's like a beach ball that you're pushing down into the water, and then, oh yeah, it's fine, I'll just leave it. And it pops up again, it pops up again, it pops up again. So you're not going to get away with it.
Yeah.
When it's something that you're passionate about, yeah, it'll keep popping up. So that's where we really have to address the deeper layering of about it being ecological, about what the I guess you can say pros and cons. We don't usually use that wording, but it's kind of like that. But what I love about NLP so much is that, like, many times, oh, take that thought, throw it in the garbage can, and like burn it and everything else. And I've seen people get really sick because they've taken this part of them and got it rid. Yet that was a mechanism that they were actually using for safety. And it sounds a little woo-woo, but it's then almost like I feel like I left a part of me over there. And that was actually part of my protection. So we do a lot of techniques where we're working with parts of us
Right.
that.
So can you move out of the safety zones? Because I know a lot of our childhoods are based around safety zones that may have served us when we're 10, but maybe don't serve us when we're 30 or 40 or 50. How do you move out of that into like something where like, yeah, your passion, and now your passion is more important than being safe?
So think of it again like a recipe. I need still to be safe. I don't want to eat all the paints. I like to joke too. That's one of my values in my business is fun. I really like to have fun and laugh and play on words. This is the linguistics part as well. How one meaning can mean another meaning. And this is where stories can come in, where you're now not preaching to someone, but you can tell a story and pepper in some of the words that are said and put it into a metaphor or a story of some kind. And yeah, so not that we want to get rid of that part of us that stays in the safety zone, but can we still do what we love in a safe way? Hey, Safeway. Isn't that the name of a store?
It is. Oh, super valued.
Yeah. So I don't know if that answered the question. Tell me if it did or didn't.
Yeah, it kind of did. I mean, I'm sure that, I mean, when you're working with you, probably the safety, yeah, of course it's still important, but, and, you know, it's got to be a balance, and you got to, I think, I'm sure you show people that being safe is not always in our best interest and not, again, serving us. So, is there a way, like,
Can you give
that,
me an example of how doing your art isn't safe?
well, it's not even not, it's not doing the art, it's getting out there and showing people the art, because that's where I got stuck. It's like, okay, this is my soul. I'm not going to show it to anybody. Like, I can't do that because then they're going to judge me. They're going to, you know, talk to me, say all this stuff about what I did or don't like what I did. And, you know, it's going to hurt my feelings. And that's
So
where
it's fear.
yeah,
Fear.
fear-based.
Yeah, fear-based. So again, what's important about someone judging you? What's important about that to
What's
you?
important about that? That they might say something that is going to hurt my feelings, or
Okay. And so what's important about your feelings?
I don't want them to get hurt.
Okay. And if they're not hurt, what are they?
Happy.
So you're actually not showing your art because you want to be happy?
Yeah. No. Yeah.
Is there any way you can show your art and be happy too?
Yeah. No. Yeah.
Have you ever shown your art and been happy?
Yes.
Yeah. So it's just like you gotta, it just keeps, it's hard to go anywhere else, but then it's like, but then you still might get the
Mm-hmm.
but it's all in this building of the questions and just keeping them moving forward. Hows and whats and wheres and whens, and that is helpful because then, and even if what would happen if you did and what would happen if you didn't, and if you did show the art, then what would happen? Okay, someone might judge me, da 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 da. Okay, and that makes me feel fearful. Okay, and if they did not judge you, then what could happen?
Yeah. They could buy my art. They could hang it up in their house.
Yeah, and um, and if you didn't, and you got to stay where you are now, what do you get now?
A room full of art.
And what else? What else do you get to keep?
My feelings.
And then if you were to show the art and that didn't happen, but what would you rather have happen? What do you want to have happen?
What do I want to have happen? Oh, if I didn't show it, my art,
If you did show it,
if I did show it, I want them to love it and buy it and take it home and pay me lots of money.
okay, so love. So by staying, not showing your art, you get to keep possibly love. The
Yeah.
same as what people, just because you mentioned a word there, so that's where we pick up on the word,
Right.
because there could then be ecological again, like Aaron had said about well, I couldn't because the family.
Right.
Sometimes it is a fear of even being better than somebody else, to outshine somebody else.
Mm.
And then you could lose love because you're better than them. This can happen with brothers, sisters, friends.
Parents,
Oh, hi, Aaron. You got a question?
It's not so much about like the loss of family and love. It's I found some things out about myself in the last year, and I'm just not very good at functioning on my own. So I kind of need that support network too, of knowing they're close by if I need help.
Yeah.
And like
So,
if I had to move like farther out into the country, that support network would not be there. So that wouldn't be good either.
right. And so in the next thing, because I generalized, right? Like I wasn't specific to Erin because I didn't ask her more questions. So, because again, you respect everybody's map of the world. So she had mentioned the support. And this again now would be getting into more questions about what's important about the support and what do you get from that, to get into also chunking that part. And yes, the unlayering of the onion can get quite deep, and sometimes it's not necessary either. It's just that's the support, that's what's needed, that's what's required. And sometimes what even happens is the whole family ends up moving to the farm. you just never know. You don't out. That's all kind of woo-woo stuff, but in the language parts and the mindset is just to keep asking more and more questions, because sometimes we'll ask or we'll tell ourselves one thing, and then that's the surface, and that might not be true. And what we're doing is we're unlayering to make sure that that is definitely your choice of the truth.
So can you give like any suggestions for artists, and for all artists here, like for using NLP like to overcome creative blocks or challenges or anything like that, I mean, we're all in our head, so.
The one technique that I do, especially before I go into a coaching session or anything, is in this new code NLP that they have, John Grinder and his wife Carmen and Michael, the three of them have created this new code, and it's also, I've heard other people talk about it too in meditation, is to get out. Sometimes we're in one rep system, meaning one, either visual, auditory, or kinesthetic. We're stuck in one of them. And when we kind of get into a know-nothing state, we then can go into each sense. Name 3 things that I can hear. Name 3 things I can see. Name 3 things I can feel, like even just my seat that I'm on. Just to get us out of that one rep system, because we're stuck in a feeling, And then, you ever done that with a baby even? I just remembered I did that with my new granddaughter. I was holding her and she pinched her finger in the drawer, and I went, oh. And she was like, what? And, you kind of don't feel your finger
Yeah, right. Yeah.
anymore. And it's sometimes we think we have to keep feeling because we'll come up with an answer, and it's too much into one sense. Does that make sense?
It does. It does. Like, I get the whole kid
Sense.
thing, because when you go, oh, are you okay? They
Yeah.
like really get, oh no, I'm crying. So yeah, I get that, because I mean, I did that too.
And
Like,
it's so natural too, because then my husband was going, he pushes his cheek and it goes quack, 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 quack. So it's like we got, so I thought, wow, that's fascinating, because we got the look over there and he's got the hear this. So it is, that's what NLP really is. It's what we do already. It's just that we don't do it in situations where we're stuck sometimes.
right.
We might be able to do it over here, like you said, with the graphs. But then when we go to the blogs, not necessarily. So that's the best way I can describe that, about just getting out of our one sense.
Right.
The 3 is good, like the hear, audit, and you'll also start to understand people's maps of their world by the language they're using. You'll hear them use predicates that are like see. Oh, I can't visualize that, or saying all these words that are visual, and then they'll get into saying things like that rings a bell. And for example, my daughter I didn't know this, she's an interior designer. I thought she would be visual first. And we had this argument that we were going across, and then it was her wedding, and I literally started to, that's it. I don't even want to go to the wedding. I was so mad. And I started to go down the stairs, and then I actually literally walked backwards up the stairs going, knowing what I know.
Mm.
And I went, let's take her aside and talk about this. So then I just asked her a few questions. And then she asked me some of the same questions. And then I told her that how much I'm so proud of her and excited about who she's marrying and how they met and everything. She goes, I never heard you say that before. And I've thought, I mean, she didn't know that I felt that way because I can be very kinesthetic, my feelings a lot. So I think other people are the same
Mm.
in their feelings. And yes, the hearing does lead to the feelings, but it was just, I was just shocked. I was like,
Mm.
wow, you didn't ever hear me say that before.
Wow.
And it's not that she's always auditory. It's just that, that like we're all in all of them, but sometimes we just favor one more. That's all.
Right. Is it sometimes more like different emotions favor different senses? You know, like this sounds like an emotional thing. Like for her, it was emotional. You know, she wanted your approval, or you know, she wanted to know that you're okay with it. So would that maybe signal more of a auditory kind of
Yeah,
thing?
but and I should say, and she needed to hear it before she could feel it
Right.
emotionally, where I wouldn't necessarily need to hear it.
Mm.
I could actually tell, see, I said tell, which is auditory, but
Right.
I could sense the feeling from her
Right.
that
Right.
she, um, but I actually didn't see her that way because it seemed like she was demanding certain things for the wedding, for example, right? And I mean, this is what can blow up business partners, blow up a business, blow up a family, everything from these little tiny things because we don't even know how to ask for it.
Right.
She wouldn't probably ask for that. But anyway. Mm-hmm. Did that answer the question? I don't know what the question was.
Yeah, I mean, it was basically like different emotions, different
But
responses.
we take it through the filter though, that her saying this or her, yeah, demanding saying this to me and seeing her expressions meant that nothing's good enough for her. And like now I've taken it through my filter, but what that means,
Mm-hmm.
it's almost a mind read.
Right.
And she's mind reading me as well, thinking that I don't care. So again, it starts with a sense. And it doesn't necessarily have to be a feeling that it starts with. It could be just something that I see. Like if someone rolls their eyes, that means that they are mad at me. That someone put their eyebrows down like this, that means someone put their arms across like this. So that means,
Mm-hmm.
right? I see this. So then that means, and we can get in a lot of trouble if we don't ask these.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
have a,
Oh,
Yeah.
go ahead, Carol.
sorry, I just, listening to you is good for me. I have a mental block too, like everybody does. I have no qualms about putting my art out there, none. But people will love something and they'll say, oh, can you make this? But can you do this to it? And I will not do a commission. I'll do everything, I want the way I want. I do have a lot of hobbies, but I cannot do a commission. It's a mental wall that's very thick. And I just tell people, I'm so sorry, I can't do commissions, or I don't do commissions. How do I get through that one?
Okay. So you're talking about getting a commission for your art?
Yes, I do a lot of different art hobbies. Anyway, doesn't matter what they are. And people that love it, they'll say, oh, I love this piece. Would you be able to do this? But can you do that to it? So now it's a commission now, and I'm guessing or attempting to guess what that other person likes, even though they love the piece there, they wanted something different. I just shut down and don't do commissions. How do I get through that?
So I just want to make sure I understand. They're telling you, you have this piece of art, and then they're telling you that this piece of art, they want to, like, they love it, but then can you also do this to it? And then if you do that, whatever it is, then you have to charge a commission. Is that right?
No, like I do fused glass, I do stone carvings, I carve in wood. I do a lot of different art styles. So I make jewelry. So say I made a ring. Okay. I cut and polish the stones. I do the silverware. I do the whole ring myself. And somebody says, oh, I love that. I just love it. But can you make me one, but with this?
Okay.
So they, well, it's too big for them or whatever. And they want me to do another one, but they want it this way. And that's when I just shut down.
Okay. So you shut down because they're asking you to make them, say, a bigger one,
Smaller one, or but with this different style in it.
or a different style. Okay. And then how specifically do you shut down at that point?
At that point, it's
What
already,
happens right at that trigger?
yeah. I say, I'm so sorry, I don't do commissions. It's stupid. I know it's stupid.
So sorry, I don't do commission. So if I saw a piece of jewelry and I went, oh, can you make me a bigger one? You'd say, sorry, I don't do commissions.
I know, that's how stupid it is. I know,
So-
I know how.
So then, no, I just want to understand. So then, like, I would ask as a client, how specifically is me asking for a bigger one, meaning that this means commission?
See, and that's, and no one's ever asked me that. I just say I don't do commissions. A commission would be anything that I'm making for specifically for a person and not just for myself to put out there.
Okay, so have you ever ordered anything in a restaurant and said, you know, I really like guacamole, say, and this is my own, I really like guacamole instead of the sour cream, and they go, okay, I can do that for you. However, it will be an extra charge. Is that okay with you?
See, that doesn't bother me at all, but that's not something to, oh,
So this is what I'm talking about, mapping across.
and yeah.
See? So you take that model
Yep.
of sour cream and guac. Gosh, you know, those avocados are so expensive. Oh my gosh, compared to sour cream. So, wow, you know, if that restaurant has to go out to the store now and get avocados instead of sour cream, it's important that they go to that grocery store. And when they go to that grocery store and they're picking up the avocado and their sour cream there, and they're bringing it to the conveyor belt, one is going to cost more than the other. If the grocery guy said to me, sorry, you can't have the guac, you can't have the avocado. Why not? Because it costs more. Oh, but I really want the avocado. I really, really love avocado. I might even want a bigger avocado. Okay, go ahead, go back, get a bigger avocado. It's going to ring up differently on the scale.
I never thought of approaching it that way of saying, of course, but there would be an extra charge. I never even thought of that. I just thought, okay, they do the same thing. Close
Can I just say something? as somebody who used to work in a grocery store, and I could be wrong because it's been a long time, I'm pretty sure avocados are not by weight. They're a set price.
Oh, okay, whatever. I'm just using it as a metaphor.
So I was like, it's like that's not gonna be a good example.
So the main thing is she got it.
Absolutely.
And that is what's really important, because now we've got somebody who's got a bigger one that they love with extra stones or cuts or
Whatever.
specifically for them. And they've invested in themselves for this piece. And they got that opportunity. Whereas before, maybe they wouldn't have even had that opportunity.
You absolutely didn't. I mean, I actually met with a couple and they went through all my stuff that I made. They loved it all, but she still wanted a specific thing. And I said, I don't want any money down or anything, because I said I have a real issue with food. And that was it. Thank you.
Can I just point something out? Because I kind of have the same problem, but it's like slightly different. Because so like I was trying to come up with commission forms because I do a very specific kind of card, and I usually like am more on the animation side. And my mom is very into business, so she was helping me come up with the form. And after we'd come up with a rough draft, and I was like saying later, I was like, can we add something into this form where it says you pick out like whoever is commissioning me, they have a first choice in the series and first choice in the character, and then they pick out a second choice in series and second choice in the character, because what if I don't get inspiration or the spark from their first choice? And my parents were like, well, you're the artist. If we're commissioning you to do something and we want a dragon, that's what we want. What if we don't want a second choice? And I was like, well, then I just don't want to do that, because I still have to do it in a way that I find fun and interesting. So I think it's kind of the same thing slightly of what she's saying, just brought up in a different way.
Yeah, except if that's something you really don't want to do. So again, this would be like very personal, because everybody's map of the world again is quite unique. So it would take some time through the unlayering of what's important about not doing it, and getting deeper into what is the specific reason for not wanting or not having that inspiration, not having that spark. And how do you know that you don't have it? And when do you know when you have it? And getting deeper into the layers of that and pulling it up.
So Carol, did you get what you needed, or is there more?
I just didn't know how to approach it differently, and it never even occurred to me, which is kind of embarrassing, to just say, of course, I can do that for you, but there will be an extra charge. It just didn't even occur to me. I just thought, okay, the ring costs this much money. They're going to want the same type of ring. I have to make it the way they want, and it's going to be the same amount of money. And I just shut down. But yeah, if they value, then it's easy for me to say, and then they can say no, and that doesn't bother me at all. So that's for me, that was brilliant.
Breakthrough. Yeah. Hey.
So we got to see a breakthrough right here, and it's recorded.
Yeah. There you go, Carol. You got a recording of this.
Go.
I have to say, I did the same thing. So I do transfers onto Wood. So I always sold my own photographs, and then people would be like, well, can I put my own photograph on there? And I'm like, no, I want you to buy my photographs. And then I'm like, why not? I'll just charge them an extra, whatever, $10 or $20 or whatever. And, you know, through the holiday season, tons of them.
Because then it's a memory for them, and you got to do it. Yeah.
Everything's for sale.
It's an honor, right? I get to like I've done memorial ones for people that have passed or dogs that have passed. It's like, it's an honor. Like now I'm, you know, it's an emotional thing.
Fantastic.
Beautiful.
Helped me a lot.
There you go. Wonderful. Okay. So yeah, I will send you the landing page for all of you if you want to come and practice doing some videos. And these videos are like Kelly said, they're just just personal things like what's your bucket list or what's this, just to get this practice of just speaking so that then we can map it across to your business, map it across to that and pull in some I also have group coaching and personal one-on-ones as well. That is all on my website. You can go to the website, dianehume.com, but the landing page for the 21-day challenge is $21 for 21 days. Very, very economical. And of course, if you want to raise it up to avocado, we have that as well. Okay, my friend, I got to go and have dinner.
Yeah, for sure. Well, thank you so much, Diane. Thank you for joining us yet again. I appreciate you redoing this for me. That's awesome.
My pleasure. A wonderful group you have there, Kelly.
People can follow you on Facebook, and like you said, they can
Yes.
part of your challenge.
Would love that. And I'd love to come in on your stuff. If you've got anything on Facebook, I will come and spill some love on you for that as well.
Awesome.
Okay.
I mean, I have to say that I don't think I would be doing this if it wasn't for you, because talking in front of people was like, ooh, no way, man.
Oh, Kelly, that's so wonderful. Yeah, and you'll see yourself on the page. You put down photographer at the bottom. It's just a beautiful photo. So
okay, awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for coming. And I will send out a recording and I'll send that to you as well. And you can share it or do whatever you want.
Great. Okay. Thank you, Kelly. Take care.
You too. Bye-bye. Thanks, everybody.
One more thing before I go.
Okay.
I want to say you're doing amazing work, Kelly, and what you're doing is so important to help people to get their beautiful work out there. So I just want to thank you for being brave and assisting others. I just want to say that.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.